Welcome to another episode of the Journeys of Not So Ordinary People podcast. I'm one of your co hosts. I'm Dr. Joe Hamlett. And as always, right alongside me, the other guy is Dr. Dave Peltz. How you doing, sir?
The other guy. The other guy. Who's that? That's the other guy.
So we're started on a good note here. Excited about being here today. But thank you all for your continued support of our podcast. And for those of you that are brand new, thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here. Hopefully, you gain something from it. So, as we always say, this is our mid professional career podcast. But again, most of these things apply across the board to just about anybody who's willing to take a listen or viewing the podcast. So, with that, like we always do in our standard fashion, one of us will introduce the topic, and then the other one will get us going. The other guy will get us going today. So, all right. So, Dave, the question is, or the topic today is brainstorming your success. What does that mean? Brainstorming your success.
Well, I'm going to use one of your famous adages, and that's, keeping your mind open to all the possibilities, and I think that's kind of a good starting point for what this looks like because whatever your current position is, pause that for a moment and really think about are you exactly where you want to be today? And this kind of continues along the previous 4 or 5 podcasts topics that we've discussed over the past month or so. We're wanting you to pause, take a pause, and just brainstorm your success on a whiteboard, on paper, your computer, whatever. But write it down, document it somehow, and identify what success looks like to you without limits. If a couple examples might be, I want to own my own airplane and become a pilot. I want to own my own sports team. I want a doctorate degree. I want to have a family with 12 kids. I'm not sure that's what most people want these days, but that's an expensive habit. I'm not saying don't, but just keep in mind the financial obligations. So whatever it looks like, do you want to be an athlete or performer, an entertainer, an educator, a scientist, a musician, whatever that looks like, put all that up there. Just brainstorm. What does the ultimate success look like for you? And then of those different ideas, prioritize them. What is most appealing? And then second, third, and fourth, and then say, okay, I've got a list of 6 things here that I think would be that epitomize what success looks like to me. And then we're going to start reverse engineering that and see what that onion looks like, what that sweater looks like once it's unraveled, whatever you know analogy you want to use. What does that look like, and how does that compare to what you look like and feel like right now? We've talked about are you doing what you need to be doing? Why are you doing what you're doing? Mission alignment, understanding your impact. What are your hidden skills? You know, consider all those things and consider this from a perspective of enjoyment. Just sheer enjoyment. If you did these things, you'd just be like looking forward to coming to work every day and, working through lunch and not even realizing it, and having, like Joe and I've talked about early on, probably the first or second season, the way we met and having conversations and our wives knocking on the car windows because we pulled up in the driveway. We're still talking after 3 hours from our commute saying, hey, it's dinner time. Get your ass inside, that sort of thing. That sort of drive, ambition, and energy where you love it. It embodies you as a human being and what you find joyful and productive and contributive to the surroundings and people and around you and the environment around you. What does that look like? I'm gonna pause there.
So, Dave, you brought up a lot of key things that's important when we're thinking about brainstorming your success, and it takes me back to, like you said, the original thing you said, is open your mind to the possibilities, and it just reminds me. A couple of months ago, I went to a middle school and talked to some sixth graders, and I asked them what they wanted to be when they grew up, And I got the standard answers, doctor or sport or athlete, things like that. But I heard a couple of kids rattle off many things. And that to me was, again, that example of throwing everything out there. Maybe you try it, maybe you don't like it, but just the idea of not just being stuck on one thing and
Mhm.
really considering I could do this, or I could try that, or I can be this, I can do this. And that's what we're trying to help you understand, the idea that you can do all these things, or you can try all these things. Like Dave said, does take some prioritization, but that's what we want you to, the way we want you to look at it, because that's what I tell people even today. Again, I'll be 62 here soon, and I still, laugh and smile about the fact that I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I mean, that is a reality for me, that I'm excited about, new projects and learning new things. And Dave talked about, being excited about going to work and working through lunch and things like that. I'm just genuinely excited about life, about what the next chapter looks like. It may not be work, it may be other things that I enjoy doing, surrounding myself with family, and in doing the things that I couldn't do when I was working full time. So I mean, just really, again, embracing nothing's out of reach, nothing's out of the question. Uh, Again, I'll reiterate what Dave said, the fact that you might have to prioritize those things. But the idea is that you throw all this information out there. If you have an idea of things you thought about, you still consider, throw them out there. And then, like Dave said, will you know, reverse engineer how to get there. But the idea in this activity is basically to really consider, yeah, maybe that's still a possibility for me. I mean, like the one I'm going to throw out there, which probably won't ever happen, is playing in the NBA. As a kid, I wanted to play in the NBA.
Maybe we can create a senior NBA league.
Yeah, it would be very senior,
Very
and
senior.
it's probably time limits and all those types of things would have to be out the window. So, but you're right, that could be a consideration if people wanted it enough, that that you get the old timers back out there. So, yeah, we laugh and joke about it, but that's the type of brainstorming we want you to think about. For your success, it could be in a lot of shapes, forms, and fashion. So nothing's off the table. So I'm glad Dave said that. That maybe it's not the NBA, maybe it's the senior NBA, or the geriatric NBA, just something else. But that's again what we want you to think about, that it still could be a possibility in some form.
Yeah, and and I like that you added that it's not just necessarily work or career, it could be your personal life. Maybe you want to travel someplace, maybe you want to do something or try something. Like Joe said, I mean, there's so many different possibilities. Maybe you want to create your own business and work from a beach or
Yep.
from a mountaintop with a lake view or something like that. Maybe you want to summit Everest, or maybe you want to try walking the Great Wall of China, or whatever it is.
Right.
Brainstorm. Nothing's off limits. When you're brainstorming, that's the whole key. There are no constraints. You want to be an astronaut when you're 5? That would be cool. Put astronaut up there. You want to swim the Pacific Ocean? Put it up there. Just there are no constraints when we're talking about brainstorming. And that's what helps you determine or identify all the potential possibilities that are out there. And it may not be that you own a sports team. Maybe you wind up coaching a little league or something like that. And that will be your form of success. But the idea of owning your own sports team is where that brainstorming idea starts. And then where you go from there to where you find your peace and satisfaction and enjoyment, that's the most important thing that's going to come out of this brainstorming session that we're really focusing on when we talk about brainstorming for success. It's your definition of success. It's nobody else's. It's There are no limits. It doesn't have to be materialistic. It doesn't have to be based upon social norms. It's all about you. Like we've talked about before, how do you define your success? Not how other people, not how your parents or friends or peers or colleagues, social media, you know, whatever. What how do you define success and brainstorm to that?
So, Dave, I'll give you a very good example, and it is in reference to basketball because that was my favorite sport growing up. But the holiday just passed us, and having a cookout with the family and my nephew, we had a conversation, and again to bring this all back into full circle. Years ago, I coached him, my son, a lot of kids when they were in high school. So we're talking 20 plus years, and he um, is now working with my younger cousin who's now high school age. And the first thing when we started having this conversation and my little cousin was there, he said, my uncle right here, your cousin, is the one who taught me how to play basketball, the fundamentals and things like that. And he said, the drills I'm showing you, he showed me. And so if we think about, you know, level of success, for me, that's success because he's passing on something that I passed on to him that was passed on to me by somebody else. And now he's continuing down this third generation of a young man playing basketball that I learned. And so again, when we think about success, to me, that is success that he paid attention enough that it impacted him enough that he's passing it on to someone else. So if you again think about it in those terms, what legacy are you leaving? What type of impact are you having on people? Whether it's an organization, when you leave, get the watch with engraved watch. Are they going to say good things about you or bad things about you when when you leave? So just thinking in terms of again, your measure of success could be nothing to somebody else, but it could be mean the world to you. And it almost put tears in my eyes when he was sharing this. That now he's working out with my younger cousin to help him get to the next level. And again, just that full circle moment. You're doing these things back then because it was your passion and you wanted to help, and now you see 20 plus years later that it did make an impact and it's making an impact on somebody else.
Yeah, and I like the way you're talking about impacting not just yourself, but others and others around you, whether it's family members, friends, whether it's the community, whether it's K-12, whether it's junior college, whatever. Maybe it's a new employees that are coming in. How can you mentor and coach them? I mean, it's to me, it's about what can we do to help others grow, and gets back to the basis of our podcast. So you don't have to take that long,
Right.
painful scenic route that Joe and I did. What can you do to help someone else or yourself to not have to take that long, painful scenic route? And that's when we talk about brainstorming and no limits, no holds barred. That's what we're talking about. We're looking at the big grandeur picture of what if, what if, what are not only what if I could do this, what are the possibilities that could become? You know, I've got a colleague from the military, um, friend of mine, and he's such an inspiration because, you know, when he had an injury in the military that left him paralyzed, and that man is such an inspiration to me because of what he's overcome, his attitude, how he perceives things, and it just amazes me and inspires me to think about all the possibilities that are out there. You can't tell this guy no about anything anymore. You can't tell him no. There is no is not in his vocabulary unless it's maybe no to Brussels sprouts or no to cauliflower or something like that. But I mean, that's what I'm talking about, brainstorming success, or what we're talking about. Don't look at your limitations or what you think you can't do. Brainstorming is about dreaming the big dream, and what does that look like for you?
Right. Well, Dave, I know we're probably close to time to share our weekly challenge. So, what is that weekly challenge for this week?
Yeah, our weekly challenge this week, thank you, Joe, is after conducting your own brainstorming session, Identify at least 3 action items that will help facilitate your success. Whatever that success looks like to you, identify after conducting your own brainstorming session. And like we said, jot this stuff down on whiteboard, take pictures, paper, crayons, whatever you want to do. Chalk on the pavement in the driveway. You know, after you brainstorm, identify at least 3 action items that will facilitate your success. And remember, we have the weekly journal, the free downloadable, fillable PDF journal that you can download from our website to help you track your weekly challenges. We've also have a free assessment, a short one, and if you like that, then you can take the more detailed assessment. Those are both no cost to you to help you on your journey. Maybe it'll help spark some ideas for brainstorming. You know, areas that you're good at, areas that you need improvement on. Maybe it's just going to let you know where you're at right now because those pictures will change over time. And just take these snapshots, these little inventories to see how your growth and development is evolving over time. So again, those tools are available to you at no cost. We hope that you use them, take advantage of them, you know, like them, share them, you know, whatever you need to do to help you and others.
Well, and I don't want to throw anything else out there for people to consider, but we didn't touch on this. When we talk about brainstorming, typically we do brainstorming sessions with more than you, more than one person. Is typically your team members or more than one person. So if you are struggling with brainstorming ideas on where you could go, what you could be, maybe bring those people that are close to you, that mean the most to you, to help you identify what some of those things might be. A friend of mine told me years ago, um, when if you can't think of what you're good at or what you're best known for, ask those people that know you the most or the closest. Ask them what you get excited about, what
Mm-hmm.
they see you really get enthusiastic about. That's typically probably the things that you really want to consider when you're brainstorming your success, things that you enjoy doing, things that make you light up. Those are the types of things that we want you to really think about as being something that you consider down the road. So,
Yeah, and again, don't say no to anything. Listen to those people. Listen to your intuition and just accept what you're hearing because you might think, well, I like to sing in the shower, but someone else might say, "Oh no, you need to start making a
right,
list
right.
and create a category of songs and get them recorded."
Yep.
You know, so that sort of thing. Or maybe, oh, I'm just playing amateur basketball. Well, you need to try out, get yourself seen. You know, don't say no to anything unless it's illegal. That's the caveat. I mean, we're talking about legal parameters here,
Right,
you know.
right.
So, um, but really be creative and be generous and show yourself some grace on what's out there. And to Joe's point, I can't pound it in enough or reiterate enough. Listen to those around you. They may be telling you something that you've never even considered that you're good at or that you enjoy, or maybe that you need to learn a little bit about more. And then you'll realize, wow, I really do like this. I really do enjoy this.
Well, Dave, again, I know I introduced a little bit more for people to consider, but so what are your final thoughts on brainstorming your success?
Have fun with it. Have fun with this
Yeah.
brainstorming session. Have fun. Be open to every possibility, like Joe says all the time. Be that kid in the candy shop that wants to taste every piece of candy out there and put it up there and then see what resonates with you because maybe you don't like cinnamon or coffee, but peppermint and bubblegum resonate with you. Who knows?
Well, I don't want to. I think I already added my little bit, but yeah, thanks for that summary and just that again to reiterate the idea that have fun with this. This is your life, your idea of success, and so you define that. So if you need help with that, take that assistance. But ultimately, it's your definition of what success is. So I'll leave it at that. So again, thanks for tuning in to this episode. This one again was fun just because that's the way I live my life now. I just not afraid of the unknown, but just excited about what it could be. Again, still thinking like a kid in a candy store, just get new shiny objects to play with. And so that's the way I view things. So hopefully that'll start to rub off on you as well. But again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And for those of you brand new, thanks for showing up. And for those that continue to come back, thanks for coming back. Again, if there's somebody out there that might benefit from this information or content, please forward that our information to them. Or if you got something you want to hear about or know more about, let us know. We respond to our comments. So, with all that said, we want you always to continue being your not so ordinary you.